action of two things, user and user reducer, and we combine together, and main reducer we send to the store. Store, yes. Inside the store we created the store, and under the store we set the main reducer. Main reducer. Now finally the main reducer gone to the create store, and after that this create store we given to whom? Provider, right? That is under which file? Index.js file. That is under the index.js file. We imported a store here and we given to a store, this one, provider. So hope till here the flow is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. Next, after this, we will be going to the reducer, this one, action file. Okay. Cool. Then next, after that, look at here. In book reducer file, here, book reducer file, let's add one hardcode value to understand whether data is getting added or not. Okay, for testing purpose. Dynamic value will send again, but first we'll fix some value and we'll see click our data is getting passed or not. So we'll write here one condition if which reducer? Book reducer. Okay, hold on. Book reducer is a single dimensional array. Yeah, it's a single dimensional array. So you will go here and write here action dot type double equal to new book. Then you will
Alert.
old and new book dot unsaved. Inside that unshift, where it will do? It will add in the beginning. You will write here call as a my textbook. Okay, my textbook. So every time whenever we click on save button, it will call which function? It will come as a new action will come as a new book, and my textbook will keep adding inside the beginning of the array. So this my textbook will be dynamic. Okay, so first let's see whether data is reaching till here or not. So write this much action part, and then we can move next. Ready till here? Go next. We'll go to the action file. We have a file called my action under the action folder. We will open the my action under the action folder. Inside the my action, you are going to write a function called save book. Const save book equal to method method. And from here, if you remember that Redux using HTML, we have created a variable book info, and under the book info, what we have passed? We have passed two parameters. One is called type colon, what we added just now, new book. We added just now as a new book, right? After that, comma, book name, colon, right here call my textbook. After that, return book info. Just add this once to guide you what we are writing here.
The employee shall be paid from the date of employment for his services hereunder.
After that, before save book, you have to apply the keyword called export, because you are going to call the which function? Save book function somewhere. Then export keyword should be there. Multiple function we are going to write in this. In this way, there will be multiple functions. So every function will have their own export. In one function, we can write one page, we can write multiple functions, and every function will have in front of export. So this function itself is saying you can call me. Anyone can export me. So wrote till here. So how many parameters?
With the continuance of the employment, a monthly salary with allowance reimbursement shall be
Okay, so book info, type as a new book name as a my textbook, and return what? Book. Okay. Now at the same time, see from here we are passing as a new book. New book is a value in which object? Type. Another one is called book name is an object where we are passing as a textbook. So complete this and come to the again book reducer file. Complete this and come to the book reducer file. In book reducer file, okay, so hope you have written. Go to the book reducer, and here what we are given by default. My textbook will replace this. And from there in action, you are sending the book name. From where? From the action file, we are sending one called new book as a type. And another parameter what we have, another object we have called book name. So that book name we can capture here. So your reducer will be dynamic reducer. You can write here action dot book name. So now here we kept as a dynamic code. So this part become as a dynamic. Which one? Reducer become as a dynamic. Our action is a static. From action, what we are sending? A static content. Okay, so that portion will make dynamic later.
Try one doubt, right? Here book name is there under my action that say book info.
Under book info variable.
Yeah. So if you are calling directly that one means how it will access right any section.
Now still we have not completed. So from the
Okay.
action page, assume if you send somewhere book info, this function is returning the book info. Under the book info, what we can find? Type and book name.
Yeah.
Now suppose book info will come under this action variable. Suppose book info will come under the action variable.
Oh, okay.
So inside the action, what we'll find? Two object. One is called
Yeah.
type,
Now
another
I
one is
got
called
it.
book name. Clear?
Yeah. Now I got it. Thanks.
So ready? After that, okay. Now come to the action file. In action file, what is the function name? Save book. So we need to call this action button. We need to call the save book on this button click. When you click on this save, the function should call. Now look at there. See, you should not confuse at this moment. Your reducer, what you have written? Inside the reducer, data is going to come under the action. Data will come in action. New data will come in action. And old data will be captured where? From the state. Okay, hope you are understanding. New data will come under the action and old data will come from the state. Okay, here object dot assign where under the state. So in a state, whichever the old data is stored, all will come there, and that will go here. Old values, new values are coming where under the action. Then only we have written action dot book name. Action dot book name is what? New data. Whereas where we are passing old new book. Old new book, what is holding? Old values. Inside what we are pushing? New value. Finally, what we are returning? The combination of old and new all together. Okay. Now we have an action. We have an action. Inside the action, we have a function called save book. Now this save book function will call once we click on this button. But you cannot call directly. It has to be as a dispatch. When you click on button, we have to call the dispatch function. And inside the dispatch function, we have to dispatch this much. To where? To the reducer. Now that point will be a small difficulties point. Let's come to there. Which file? Now we'll see what is the file name, function name, save book. In which file? myaction.js. Hope you have applied the export keyword. Now come to your file called book.js. Come to your book.js. Under the book.js, we have a button here. Correct? We have a button here, save book. Right? We have save book. Now on save book click, which function we want to call? Save book function we want to call. So the save book function is written in which file? It's written under the my action file. In which folder? Action folder. Let's import that function here. Import import under the flower bracket, save book. See, just type save book, automatically suggestion will come. Call that my save book function. You call from where? Action dot my action. Oh, ready? Function we imported. Now this function should get call on button click, right? So now remember, the flow is in front of your eyes or not? Flow is in front of eyes or not? Flow is visible. If you close your eye, the flow should be visible. Which file is where and where it is calling. So we have written the
Yes,
reducer.
sir.
We have written the reducer. Inside the reducer, we are sending the data. From where? Action. Okay. Inside action, we have an object that has to go to where? Reducer. Reducer will push inside the array. But question is, where is the reducer? Reducer is sitting under the store. Okay, right? And store linking and all we have done. Now we are going to connect with the view. So your book.js is the view file. Inside the book.js, which function we call? Save function. From where? From the action file. But only save function is not going to work. Keep in mind. We have to call two function now. Because from here, when we click on button, action has to fire. Which action? Add new book. New book action will fire. And from your view file, action should go. Action has to dispatch. We have used a dispatch keyword there, if you remember. Now from the view file, we have to dispatch the action to where? To the store directly. See, you are not going to call to the where? Reducer directly. You are going to dispatch the action to store. Once your action will go to the store, in store reducer is sitting. Reducer will take care. Okay. Now let's come. So to send the data, to fetch the data from the store, we use a hooks function. To fetch the data from a store, we use a hooks function that is called use selector. Using use selector, we bring the data from a store, and using use dispatch, we send the data to a store. Okay, what are the function? Use selector will help you to bring the data from a store. Okay, and use dispatch will help you to send the data to a store. Using use dispatch, you are going to dispatch the action, means you are going to send the data, and using use selector, you are going to fetch the data from where? From the store. Okay, now let's go here and import here the use dispatch and use selector. So import. This is one particular point is little difficult for you, else you have understood the remaining point. So let's call here. That is called use selector. Import use selector, comma, use dispatch. Use selector and use dispatch from where? React Redux. Use selector and use dispatch. Using use selector, we are going to fetch the data. Using use dispatch, we are going to send the data. Okay, so hope we are ready. Okay, hope ready. Now come down. First, using the huge dispatch, we can bring the data from a store. So now remember in book reducer, what is the function name? Book list. Let's go here under the book file, write a const call book equal to use selector. Use selector. Inside the use selector, your entire data is stored under the state. In the reducer also we have called the state variable. Here also we are calling the state variable. But inside the state variable, there is a lot of data. Book is also there, user is also there. We have to split which one we want. Fat arrow method, if you remember, we can write here state dot the function name. What is the function name? Book list, definitely. That's all. You can get entire list of the books. So your indirectly your data is under the store, but inside a store also how it maintained under the state only. Under the component earlier we are maintaining, now we send to where? A store. So all the data will be stored one place. But there also is based on a state only. So see here, we wrote here using use selector. Use selector is the mediator. It is pointing to what? Directly a store. Inside the store there is a state. Under the state there is a lot of function and array. So as of now, how many we have created? We have created two. One is called user list, another one is called book list. So from the store, inside a store there is a state, and under the state there is a two array, two function. One function is two reducer. One reducer is a book list and another reducer is a user list. So we are calling here call which one? Book list reducer. Now once we call the book reducer, book list will give the all the data of the book. If you call here user list, because each reducer is maintaining their own data. Book list is a reducer that is maintaining the book data. User list is the reducer that is maintaining the user data. So we are calling here which reducer? Book list. Where it will store all book. Go here and print the length. Book management colon book dot length. All book dot length. Dot length. And hopefully it should display the 0. If everything is well. Hopefully it should display the 0 if all is fine.
Sir, book list where we added, sir? Book list where we defined?
Name of the reducer in book reducer.js file. You have a function there, no? Check in the book reducer function. Book reducer file, there is a main function. That is your reducer. Length is 0. See, saying book
Yes,
how
sir.
much? Is it 0. What is that 0? That 0 is nothing but if I go to the reducer file, book reducer, what is the constant function name? Book list only, no? It is the name of reducer. So it is returning with the state as how much? 0. So look at here. By default, state is assign state. Like under the state assign value is what? Nothing. For which one? For the book list. So it is returning how much? By default as a 0, empty. Because of that, and more or less what we are calling this function. See, function name const and below export default is applied. Now export is applied means it can be imported by anyone. So where it is importing? Now under the book reducer, under the book.js file, your use selector is calling, use selector is directly, it is pinging to where? A store. And under the store, your data is wrapped inside the state. Okay. Now under the state, there is a multiple reducer. Data under the state, the multiple reducer are maintaining their data. So it is calling under the state those which reducer data, that is called booklet reducer data. Okay, finally it will give you the 0 by default because as of now nothing is added there. So it will give us a 0. Carefully. Now one complex portion is here, dispatch. Using use selector, you are calling the data from state. Now using use dispatch, we have to send the request to where? State. We have to dispatch the data from here to state. So that how it is going to work. Save browser. My extend.js file, okay. My extend.js file. Take one. Where is the my extend? It is under which folder? Accent folder only. Export const say book info. There we have written called type colon. Here also colon say object. Okay, go to the first page. 0 on top because still under the state, under the store, inside the state for book reducer there is no any data. Okay, now come, you have to create an object of use state. Directly use state we cannot call here, so we have to write here constant dispatch 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 equal to use dispatch. So it is nothing but you are creating a object of which function? Use dispatch. Now using use dispatch, we are going to dispatch the action to where? Under the store. Okay. Write this. Which one? Use dispatch. Write it. See, the people who have the capacity to handle the complexity, they are called as excellent. The people who have no patience to handle the complexity, they are called as Deepak Kumar. Sorry, Deepak Kumar is one of our known person, my known person. He don't handle the complexity. Last 4-5 years experience, still he is earning 16,000. Okay, along with that, the people who has handled the complexity, they are the 10 lakh now. And he is still 16,000. Okay, complexity whenever will come, we should not turn back. We should look forward. Yes, come, I will see you. Okay, so hope written where to where. See, we are using, then we are feeling complex. The people who made the Redux and Redux, how brainish they are. We are just a user. We are feeling difficulties while using. Think about those person who made it, right? Why can't we become like that? So someone has made, we are understanding that. So there should not be matter of losing the patience. There should not be matter of It look like complex. No, it's not complex. If we sit behind that, it's easy only. Okay, 5-10 times if you do, it will become easy only. We'll understand entire flow. Error will come, we can find it. Oh, here is the error. Step by step, we can remember. Okay, it's a certain flow only. It is not difficult. Yeah, it's a complex only, but not impossible. Let's go now. So we created the object. What is that? Dispatch. Let's come now to the save function. Under the save function, a small changes will happen. So on save function, which function we need to call? Save book we need to call. But after
sir.
calling the save book, save book will return some data. Look at the save book, what you have written. Save book is returning the book info. Book
Yes,
info
sir. Yes,
is
sir.
returning book info. That is
Yes,
going
sir.
to return as a object. There will be type and book name. Okay. So book function, save book function is nowhere the save book function, nowhere it is going to talk to whom? Your store. Okay. It is just going to return a type of object. Okay. So instead of writing under the action file, we can write in this file also. Instead of writing under the action file, we can write under this file also. That is also possible, but we have made as a separate. Okay. Let's first check separate. If that work, then I will cut the function from there and add in the same file. And then we'll understand whether it is working or not. Okay. So let's go next. Now after that, we have got the function called save function. Now on button click, if you are thinking you are going to call the save function, no, you are thinking in the wrong way. You are going to call the dispatch. You are going to call here the dispatch. Inside the dispatch, we are going to call the save function. So the save function will return the object, and that object will be sent to where? Dispatch. Okay. Let us see how to write that. That one point is the complex remaining. Next, we don't have much complexity. Let us see how it will work. On click function, we are already aware of. Let me give here little space. I will write all in the new line. So it will be a space, yes, and we'll understand properly. Okay. On click equal to call just like this. Do you remember the use effect? How we used to call the use effect? Yes. Double parenthesis, right? Similar way here, there will be a function, and this function is going to call the dispatch. 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 D-I-S-P-A-T-C-H, dispatch. Under the dispatch, it's like landing करेगा यहाँ पे ऐसे पूरा एरिया right till here ठीक ना right till here inside the flower bracket call the dispatch, and under the dispatch we will call the save book function. So indirectly once you click, who will call first? Dispatch will call. Dispatch will call which one? Save book. Save book will return the object. That object will come to where? Dispatch. Dispatch will send to where? Directly a store. And inside the store, your reducer is sitting. Okay, so hope wrote till here. Now call here the function called save. Inside the dispatch, we are calling the save function. Right? Save book. Save book. After this, directly you will click on save book function. No need to enter anything, directly click on save book function. Because already we are given no hardcode value. In action file, you are given the hardcode value book name equal to test book. We are not picking from the text box as of now. Click on save button. On save button, the length is increasing or not? Anyone?
Sir, it's saying save book was not found in action, my action.
Save book was not found.
Yes, sir.
She is working for many people.
Yes, sir.
Everybody here?
Length is increasing.
The length should increase here.
The please, sir, my action.js code.
See, length is increasing, no?
Sir, my action.js code.
पहले ये लिखो आप ध्यान से, दिमाग लगा के ये वाला बटन लिखिए. I will share the button code. In my action, problem will not be there. Problem mostly will have in this file. I will share you the code also. Button code I share you. I will share you the action file as well. In my action, there is a function that I will share you the function code. This is the code of my action. Check this. I've shared the code of both the function. Here.
Okay, sir.
Right, for me, it's showing that one error, right? It is showing that warning. React download render is no longer supported in React 18. Use create root instead. Until you switch it to the new API, your app will have behavior as if it's running React 17.
That is not related to React. Related to your code. I have some mismatch. Something. Check on.
Okay.
Save book function है यार. We need to call the function here as a save book. So that's what he similar problem he is facing. Check one. The save book is a function. Save book is a function. Save book. When you are calling the save book, here by mistake you may have given us not bracket. Let me show you. Please look at this line. Save book. Save book function bracket.
Yeah, given, right.
Then the problem you have in the two files only. Before your code was working, correct?
Yes, before it is working.
Then replace this two line. The first two line. Now replace remaining two line. The first two line and remaining two line. Let's replace these two. Button code also I will share in the chat. After changing this much, let's have a look once. Still error remains same. Every time, whenever you are clicking on button, data is going to store. Is it? Data is going to store, and after that, inside the store, whenever the changes will happen, this line will execute automatically because we are fetching the data from where? State. Nature of state is whenever the changes will happen, automatically render will call. When we do the changes under the state, we have seen earlier also, no? When we do the changes under the state, what will happen? render will call again and again. So what we are doing, we are sending the data to a store, and a store is sending to where? A state. And whenever the change will happen in a state, your line is written, no? Say a state will say, okay, if change will happen there, I will call myself. Whenever it will call, all book will get update. All book will get update, length will get increased. So this is the communication between how many files? View, book.js, book reducer, action. This is the file we created. Now React, where and where they are storing, in which corner they are storing, that React will understand. But for us, we are doing the communication between three files, not three files here. One is called your view file, where you trigger the action. Then request viewer, where request went to action. From action, request will go to the reducer. The reducer is not one reducer. Reducer is a combined reducer. In which file? Book reducer is going to main reducer. Main reducer is going to store. And a store is going to where? Index.js, right? So these all are linked together. It's kind of a network of network. So multiple files are linked together and it's working.
Right, still I'm facing same issue, right?
I will share you those two files, book.js and action.js. Action file, my action, and then reducer action, and okay, so these two files I will be sharing now. One file is called action file, that is called my action. Came in the chat. Next file, reducer file, book reducer came in the chat. Next file is called view file, that is called book.js. These three files you can replace in three locations and then check again.
Sir, view files can also be, sir, in one folder, so that the structure is very good. All the view files can be in one folder.
You can arrange that, only you are going to do in the industry, no? Depend on your wish. If you keep in one folder, keep. If you keep different folder, keep there, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so hope you are replacing the files.
Replacing 1 minute once again. Almost all I replace. Yeah, I replaced it, right? Yeah, now it is working, right? Thanks.
Somewhere some linking was problem.
Oh, okay, right. I will check.
Connection between 3-4 files.
Yeah, now it is working. Thanks.
Any other people have error? See, now length is increasing. Then we can display the length of the item also here. It is single dimensional array. It's a single dimensional array, so no need to use any object. Directly we can use the map function, all book.map, book name and index. So let's go on tbody tr all book dot map we can write here name comma index. So this is the book list is coming in the single dimensional array or multi-dimensional array. Anyone?
Single dimensional.
Single dimensional.
Yes, it is the single dimensional array. It is single dimensional array only. Return. Check now. List is coming.
Working, sir.
See, whichever the data you have stored, all are coming here. I have stored 19, so 19 is coming. Listing. Go to your other component and come back. Go to the user, go to the API, go to the all Redux. Anywhere, just don't reload the page. Go to any component and come back to the manage group. You will see your data is there only. It was not happening in the React. Hmm? This one was in your normal React project. If you see, if you go from one component to other component, you will lose the data easily. But here it is not losing the data. Hope listing, right? You have to make it little dynamic. Anyone error? Okay. No error, then see the data, which data? Text box data. Now the data is going there. When we click here, it's increasing. No doubt, length is also getting increased. Go to other component and come back. You will not lose your data. That is the only feature of your which one? Redux. Redux is like in one project, suppose in one page you did something. You added, deleted, did calculation here, there. You went to some other page for some other data. Like collect some data, shortlist some record from the first page, some shortlist some record from the second page, shortlist some record from the third page, and go to the fourth page, you will find all are there. You don't have to go here and there. Meaning is what? Our data is not storing under the component. Where it is storing? Under the store. And inside the store also how it is storing? Using the state. Okay. Okay, let's go next. Now what we have to do, we need to take the value from the text box. Okay, we need to take the value from text box. So how to take the value from text box? We have two way. Number one, use the Redux here. Remember, use state. Using use state, take the value from the text box. That is one option. Another option, directly using the ID JavaScript code, you write and take the value. That is also possible. Okay, that is also possible. So first, okay, come to directly the action file. We are given the ID equal to new book. Go to the action file. Under the action file, we have written here directly test book. Instead of that, remove that. Write here document dot get element by ID. Which ID? What is the ID name? ID is called new book. New book dot value. New book dot value. So this way also it will work. It will take the value from text box. Now your page become dynamic. You need to enter the value and click on save. Whichever the value we enter, that will come under the list. Hope the values are taken from the text box.
Working, sir.
And replace here for Java. Save. Java should come on the top. Also old code only. It should reload. If you replace manually, then it will go. You'll write here for Java. Save. Coming. Python. Save. Coming. HTML. Save. Coming. Node.js. Save. Coming. React.js. Coming. Right. So hope your data is able to save easily. Let me know if it is working. Hmm?
Refresh करने के बाद भाग
Once we refresh the page, data will go.
सब सॉल्व
Hmm? No, Redux is not going to help you to store under the backend. It will store the data in such a way where if you reload the page, sorry, if you go from one component to other component, you will not lose the data. That is the meaning of Redux. Okay, then let's move next. Now write one more function here, delete book, export const delete book equal to index. Now from here, you have to return the type and action. Delete book. Delete book. And you have to write here for book index as a index. Book index as a index. Okay, ready, written. Now we have to go to the reducer. And how many you are sending? Type is delete book and book index is index. So these two we have to again specify under the reducer. See here you are sending new book and book name for adding purpose. Here what we are sending? Type remains same. In that delete book will come and book index will hold the 0, 1, 2, 3. So under the book reducer, write one more if condition. If action dot type equal to delete book, then book list dot splice. This will delete the record from the table.
Yes, sir. Working, sir.
So can you please show me book.js code delete function?
Book.js,
Delete function.
complete this line once. This is completed.
Yes, sir, it's completed.
Come to the book.
Working, sir.
Book.js file delete, we have not written still. Reducer is check. Action file. Check in action file this function you have written.
Yes, sir, I have written.
Then come to the book.js file. Book.js file. You have to import the delete book function. Say book we are calling, comma, delete book. Delete book function we imported. Now come down. So here we have delete function. Dispatch will happen similar.
Only delete.
Click equal to. We'll call the delete function, but directly you cannot call the delete function. You have to call here dispatch. Under the dispatch, you have to call the delete book. Under the delete book, you have to send the index now. Directly index. Map function, I think no need to call here. Not map function. Bind function. We used to call bind function here. Bind function may not require. Directly we can call the function. Deleting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's
Deleting.
working.
Okay. So till here, this is enough for one day. We spend some time in this. Tomorrow we'll work on multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional also flow is same, exact same. Just instead of sending one value, we have to send the 3 values. Object inside object, array inside array. And then we can capture here. Then we can read the API data. Click on this, we'll go to the Redux. And once you come to the all Redux data, you can see book will also come here, user will also come here, all will come here. SRC folder is required.
Sir, how to remove previous values, sir?
How to remove?
Text, inside text we added like Java, Python, right?
You can
How to
write
clear?
here. In action file, you can write here at this place. Document.getElement by ID dot value equal to empty before returning. Dot value equal to empty. It will set as empty.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. See you tomorrow.
Right, are you handling AWS, right?
My specialization is web technology till database, Node.js, PHP, those area, Angular, React.
Oh.
uh,
Okay, right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Complete SRC folder I have sent. In that you can extract the book.js file. So I send again SRC folder. Who is that? 107C. That name is not visible. Complete SRC folder came again. You can download that and extract that and required